Bringing yourself into child's pose, big toes together, knees slightly wide apart, and bring those chests down to the floor in between those thighs, reaching forward with the hands, back with the heels. Take a nice long deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. Bring your left hand on top of the right and let that left hip sink back towards that left heel. And take a breath out, finding that chest sink into the inside of that right thigh, lateral flexion of the spine. Your next breath in, walk the hands over to your left side of the mat. Bring your right hand on top of your left and let that chest sink to the inside of that left thigh. Right sit bone being pushed back towards that right heel. And those shoulders relax, but the arms lengthen. Come back to the center, take a breath out in neutral spine. And just allow that chest to sink towards the floor again in the center of both thighs. Sit bones back towards the heels, length through the sides of the waist. Thread your right hand underneath your left armpit, turning the right palm up, and then just sink the chest over that right shoulder, bringing the forehead down to the mat. So we're stretching through those deltoid muscles in the shoulders, we're stretching through the lower back, stretching through the hips, reaching through the left side waist, reaching through the fingers of the left hand, finding that space around that right shoulder as we lean and stretch into the outside of those rotator cuffs. Then reach out with that right hand, send it back to meet the left. Then send your left hand underneath the right armpit, turning the left palm up, sinking the chest back over that left shoulder, taking exactly the same on that opposite side. Still feeling that stretch down the lower back. Stretch through the waist on the right side, stretch through the muscles of the shoulders on the left side. Finding easy breaths, maybe using that nose if you can to breathe, or using the mouth if you hold any colds or allergies at this time. Reaching back out with that left hand, send it back to meet the right. Then keeping the left hand where it is, bring the right hand behind the back of the body to find the left thigh and just let that chest sink down. And then just feel that body sink in between both thighs. Those sit bones keep pushing back. We're just taking that shoulder into a little internal rotation. Reach back out then with that right hand. Let the right hand be the support. Bring the left hand behind the back, maybe find that thigh on the right side and just let that chest sink back down. A little internal rotation of that left shoulder and taking that right shoulder into flexion. Bringing that left hand back out to meet the right. Then just make your way up onto your hands and knees. Bringing the heel of the hands underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips. So without moving the shoulders, we're taking a few pelvic tilts in the lower part of the spine. So the shoulders stay still, and as you breathe in, you feel like you lift that tailbone up and you let the belly drop to the floor. And as you breathe out, you feel that tailbone tucking under, the pubic bone coming closer towards the ribs. Do that a few times in those two places, the lift of the tailbone and the drop of the belly on the inhale, and then the tuck of the tailbone and the lift of the pubic bone on your exhale. Just do a couple more, loosening through that lower back, disassociating the base of the spine from the shoulders. Soften the elbows so we don't lock out in those joints. Tops of the feet nice and flat on the floor, pushing into the floor with those big toes. Next time you come through neutral, I'd like you to hold the lower part of the body still. And then I'd like you to push into the hands as though you're pushing that chest into that space between the shoulder blades. Taking it into protraction. And then let that chest sink down towards the floor as though you're squeezing the shoulder blades, making a hollow in between that space, taking it into retraction. Push into those hands again, push that chest away from the floor, protraction. Let those shoulders sink, shoulder blades squeeze together into retraction. Again, disassociating the top to the bottom of the spine. Keep moving in and out of those two places. Just one more in both ways. Retraction with the shoulders squeezing together. Protraction with the chest pushing into that space. Come back to a neutral place. Now we're going to work all of that spine together. The breath in, we lift up the head, we lift up the bum, we let the belly drop down to the floor and the gaze goes up, the shoulders squeeze back. On your out breath, we tuck the chin into the chest, tailbone tucks, centre of the spine lifts. Come back through that opposite space, belly drops, head lifts, tailbone lifts, shoulders going to retraction. And then take it the opposite way, shoulders go into protraction. The tilt of the pelvis goes in to posterior tilt. Just do one more in both directions. Lift of the head, lift of the bum, drop of the belly. And then fold everything back in, chin to chest, tailbone to centre of the spine lifts. Come back to a neutral space. Now we're going to try and find a little core engagement in the centre. Keep that belly drawn back in. Try and keep the ribs and hips close. Reach out with the right hand. Reach back with the left toes. And then lift that left foot without arching that lower back. Soften the left elbow, push into the top of the right foot. On your out breath, bring right elbow to the left knee. On your in breath, lengthen back out. Out breath, elbow to knee. In breath, lengthen. One more, out breath, elbow to knee. In breath, lengthen. Bring your right hand down, left knee down. Take it to the opposite side. Weight into the right hand, left hand lifts. Keep that rib and hip tethering towards each other. Right toes to the back of the room. Raise that right leg up to hip height. Keep pushing into that right hand, top of the left foot. Out breath, elbow to knee. In breath, lengthen. Out breath, elbow to knee. In breath, lengthen. Two more, elbow to knee. And lengthen. Just take it one more time, elbow to knee. In breath, lengthen. Bring that left hand down, right knee down. Walk the hands a little further forward. We'll take some rotations of those hips. Bring the hips forward to the heel of the hands and just let them hover, soften the elbows. On your breath in, bring those hips around to the left, back towards the heels. On your out breath, bring the hips to the right and back to the heel of the hands. In breath, over to the left, back to the heels, over to the right, back to the heel of the hands. Opposite direction, in breath, over to the right, back to the heels, over to the left, back to the heel of the hands, over to the right, in breath, back towards the heels, over to the left, and back to the heel of the hands. Just hold it in hover. Just have a little rock of those hips from side to side. Then bringing your shoulders back up, heel of the hands underneath the shoulders, widen the knees, bring the big toes together, start to sink the seat back towards the feet and reach the hands forward towards the front of the mat. Just let the chest sink towards the floor. Take a nice long deep breath in and long breath out. Another long deep breath in and long breath out. Just go to your natural automatic breath. Just holding in this space, stretching the bases of the back, the sides of the waist. Holding it here for as long as you wish. If you're coming out of the space with me, walk the hands back up towards the knees, or stay where you are if you wish. Bring the knees together, feet together. Bring the hands to the chest. Take a breath in. On your out breath, namaste.